The top stories: Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said an attempt to dismantle Ethiopia through false propaganda is a result of misunderstanding Ethiopians' vanquishing spirit. And Zimbabwe extends lockdown till 15th February. Hello and thank you all for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour. With the news, I'm Tabitha John. Do stay with us. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said an attempt to dismantle Ethiopia through false propaganda is a result of misunderstanding Ethiopians' vanquishing spirit. The Premier's statement states that Ethiopia is beyond individuals and institutions. Haptamu Ashagwe tells us the full account of the Premier's message.
In a statement issued today, Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed forwarded a message addressing various issues. He said Ethiopia is a great nation. It's better if all our old thoughts and deeds fit this greatness of Ethiopia. Ethiopia was made from the blood and bone of its dear children that sacrificed and have been sacrificing their lives to its greatness and liberty. Individuals have made these great deeds to Ethiopia, but Ethiopia's existence has not been founded on individuals. Ethiopia has had heroes who fought against its enemies with gallantry and perseverance and scored victories in various battles, and thinkers who brought about accomplishments in various fields, he said. Ethiopia created Ethiopians, but not Ethiopians created this holy nation. Before the existence of Ethiopians, Ethiopia had already been created. It is always true that Ethiopia is not extinct, even one of us disappeared. Ethiopia is more than its citizens, leaders, and thinkers that contributed to its long-standing sovereign existence. The nation is the sum of epic individuals who have been contributing to its well-being for centuries. But no one is greater than the country, the Premier stressed in a statement issued today. Many have sacrificed their lives to preserve national pride of their country. Ethiopia has had and still has leaders who have built bold reputation for their contribution in social and economic progress of the country, the Premier said. Ethiopia will continue witnessing that is being Ethiopia. Our role here is to build on the foundation of the good deeds of our forefathers and to preserve the country to the next generation. And the coming generation will continue in like manner, making Ethiopia great. All the road infrastructure, industrial parks, irrigation dams, and power generating projects are being continued under the ownership of the people and the government. This is the secret behind success of every developed nation. This is the status quo we should rely on, Prime Minister Abiy underscored. Leadership is a matter of courage to take responsibility on the one hand and daring to go through political struggle on the other hand, and it is also a matter of opportunity, he noted, adding that anyone who is capable to go through these tenders can assume leadership position. The democratic system we are building is creating fertile ground that makes leadership an output of political process, he said. This makes every eligible Ethiopian who wins an election a leader. Being a leader is not attributed to power but responsibility, he underlined. Ethiopia has overcome its contenders in many fronts. These who conspired to vandalize it, driven by personal and organization greed, have vanished. Defeat is imminent for those who cannot learn from history, and they will be left forgotten like nations' antagonists in the past. Ethiopia will go forward defeating its foes in both visible and the invisible wars it may face, and the enemies will remain alone but with their falsehoods which they are now disseminating as a weapon of war, he added.
Ethiopia should modernize its trade system in order to take part in the international trade system. The remark came as Ethiopia has launched today an online business registration and licensing system. Emmanuel Jorge has more.
So far, over 2.3 million business licenses have been registered in Ethiopia. Modernizing the trade system is believed to involve more people in the country's economic activities. Noting that Ethiopia is currently at the base in a row of countries with good electronic trade system, Ethiopian Trade Minister Melaku Lebel said launching an online business registration and licensing system will play a significant role in modernizing the trade system.
የወጣው መረጃ እንደሚያሳየው በኢ-ገቨርንመንት ወይም ኤሌክትሮኒክ አስተዳደር
As it is indicated with a survey on e-governance conducted in 2020, the data shows that countries are taking several measures to facilitate their socio-economic growth. But when we see our country's level in the world, it ranked 178th out of 193 countries in the world. This shows that much work has not been done yet and expected from us. Therefore, launching an online business registration and licensing system will raise our ranking in ease of doing business internationally. It will also help increase the flow of foreign direct investment to our country and has some other benefits.
ሌሎች ጠቀሜታዎች ይኖሩታል ተብሎ ይታመናል።
Ethiopian Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Affairs Minister Demeke Mekonnen said modernizing the trade system and fulfilling necessary requirements in order to take part in the international trade system is a remarkable measure.
We are performing different activities in order to be part of the international trade system. One significant task to link our country with the international trade system and to reform our national trade system is joining the World Trade Organization. When we join that, it requires full preparation in a way that keeps and secures our national interest. We should be good competitors there. To do so, the launching of an online system is a very encouraging and determinant step forward.
The Deputy Prime Minister urged all states to play their role in implementation of the online business registration and licensing system.
The online business registration and licensing system which we are launching today needs effort from all of us for the implementation. In this regard, it requires readiness from each and every level of persons and offices.
Mauritius is a country with the best trade system in Africa and ranks 12th in the world. Rwanda is the second in Africa and 38th in the world. Therefore, much work needs to be done for Ethiopia to compete with these countries.
Ethiopian Foreign Affairs State Minister Ambassador Redwan Hussein discussed yesterday with UN Under-Secretary General for Safety and Security, Giles Michaud, on current situations in Tigray, particularly issues related to the humanitarian operations in the region. During their discussion, Ambassador Redwan Hussein informed the Secretary General that the law enforcement operation has already been completed and the priority of the government has shifted to fulfilling other important objectives. In this regard, the federal government has focused on apprehending the criminals and bringing them to justice, delivering much-needed humanitarian assistance to those impacted by the operation, and the reconstruction of damaged infrastructure. Government agencies, international organizations, and other pertinent aid agencies are working in concert in delivering food and non-food items, including pharmaceuticals to impacted people, under a well-coordinated framework led by the federal government, he added. Ambassador Redwan underscored that it would be beneficial to all if humanitarian partners act within the coordination mechanism that is laid out by the Ministry of Peace to facilitate the safe, effective, and efficient delivery of assistance to those in need. The discussion between the two sides also included the government's efforts to rehabilitate IDPs in safe sites and the unsubstantiated claims regarding the situation of Eritrean refugees in Tigray, as well as the underreported facts that could have revealed how the junta has plundered some of the refugee camps. The meeting between the two also addressed other issues of mutual concern. In a related news, the UNHCR High Commissioner Filippo Grandi, together with Ambassador Redwan Hussein and Peace Minister Mufariat Kamil, have visited the Mai Aini refugee camp in Tigray, North Ethiopia. The Mai Aini refugee camp is one of the 4 camps sheltering over 46,000 Eritreans. The visit is a manifestation to the world that peace has prevailed in the region, Ambassador Redwan said.
This is Professor Hirut Oldamariam.
I'm Ethiopia's candidate for African Union Education, Science, Technology and Innovation Commissioner position. I believe that there is no greater calling than serving the advancement of Africa in its aim to become peaceful, prosperous, integrated, and globally influential continent. The Africa we want can only be realized through quality, relevant, and inclusive education. And we Africans deserve a much higher quality of life. And science, technology, and innovation is essential to ensure sustainable growth in the continent. And this is the way to realize the Africa we want. My parents were my pillars of strength. My father, who was a graduate of Addis Ababa University and a high school teacher of African geography and history, has been telling me all about the power of education. That has left an incredible impression on me regarding Pan-Africanism and African Renaissance since childhood. And my mother was a spiritual and always optimistic. And she gave me the strength and the inspiration to be fearless and to face any challenge in life. The greatest treasure that I inherited from my African parents was the passion to learn and to give back to Africa. And doing my PhD studies at the Institute of African Studies, University of Cologne in Germany. And that gave me the chance to engage with a number of colleagues from all over Africa. And that helped me, reinforcing my desire to serve at the continental level. My vision is to enable inclusive, relevant, and high-quality education and a deep culture of innovation that will unleash the potential of Africa's youth for the continent's rightful and timely advancement as per Agenda 2063's aspiration. My vision is to unleash African minds and the indigenous knowledge of our ancestors so that poverty becomes a history of the past, to empower our youth, to convert society's problems into opportunity and innovation. The AUESTI, which I'm aspiring to lead, is a key center of transforming the continent into the global powerhouse of the future. Addis Ababa University gave me the chance to exceed in the domain of leadership, in progressively increasing positions of responsibilities. In fact, I was the first female vice president and the first female full professor in the area of humanities and social sciences. Published about 3 dozens of peer-reviewed articles in international academic journals on a range of subjects. All those platforms have given me the visibility to be handpicked by government to serve as at a higher level of leadership. And in fact, I've served as a cabinet minister in 3 different ministerial portfolios. And currently, I'm serving as a Minister Social Sector Advisor to His Excellency Dr. Abiy Ahmed, the Prime Minister. I have a distinguished track record as a reformer in the Ethiopian science and higher education sector. I have initiated and implemented important reform in the curriculum of Ethiopian higher education. Also differentiation of higher education institutions by areas of specializations, providing a clear science policy of Ethiopia, and bringing women to leadership positions in higher education, and new regulations on public-private partnership in higher education and TVET, introduced digital literacy program as a community service, and green legacy of the Ethiopian higher education institutions, and more. We need African education that solves Africa's problems for the benefit of Africa. I call for a bold curriculum reform that will help the continent leaping into a knowledge economy. Education and skill development need to be quality and also relevant for the 21st century job market. And I reaffirm the need to allocate at least 1% of each country's GDP to research and development. I mean, investing in education and research is investing in our future. We need to have a strong Pan-African scholarship where the brightest of our high school graduates from across the continent assemble to receive a truly African education with harmonized accreditation system and qualification standards so that we can realize the integrated Africa that we want. And forging equity beyond rhetoric, we need to act on gender equity and social equity in education, science, technology, and innovation. It will be my mission to serve as a golden link for the African Union to make Africa a stronger, united, resilient, and influential global player and partner. Vote for me.
Good luck, Professor. And welcome back again. You're watching Addis News Hour. The Ethiopia-Sudan Joint Border Commission says the ongoing border dispute can be settled by institutions of the respective nations only. The commission indicated that Ethiopia is taking bold steps to settle the dispute through peaceful dialogue. Sintayo Tamrash presents the remainder of the story filed by the Ethiopian news agency.
Wahab Muluna, a member of the Ethio-Sudan Border Commission, says Ethiopia and Sudan reached agreements in 1972 to demarcate their borders again through dialogue. In 2002, the two countries set up a joint border committee, technical committee, and joint special committee to find remedy to their border issues. The border dispute between Ethiopia and Sudan can be resolved through the joint institutions the two countries have set up, he stressed.
The
status quo or de facto holding remains unless the Joint Technical Committee proposes a recommendation. A solution is disposable only when the two countries agree. The Special Joint Committee has so far held 8 meetings to bring a lasting solution to the problem. We recorded evidence for this, which was signed by both parties. However, the final recommendation that brings amicable solution has not been written. This treaty or exchange of notes is binding. Till then, de facto holding or the status quo will work. But Sudan recently violated this agreement and entered Ethiopian border by force.
Based on the agreements mentioned, Sudan's recent claim of regaining its land after occupying Ethiopian territory is unacceptable, he pointed out. He further explained Ethiopia and Sudan can solve their border disputes through institutions the two countries have set up.
It is the boundary mechanism that would resolve the issue, despite possibility that the media may later report that a certain political decision was made. It is these boundary mechanisms that become solutions. But the mechanisms have not finished their assignment. So what Ethiopia is proposing as a solution is to enter negotiation.
Ethiopia has a firm stance in settling the dispute through peaceful dialogue, Wahab added.
Our next measure is to undertake peaceful negotiation and bring amicable solution to the dispute. And for this to happen, the mechanisms shall resume their assignments. In this regard, there will be a high-level meeting in Addis Ababa, though the date has not been selected yet. On this meeting, Ethiopia will reflect its clear stance, which is reactivating the mechanisms and solve the dispute.
We've called upon the Sudan to learn from the global trend of settling similar disputes and come to the table to alleviate the issue through dialogue.